Welcome back, friends, to a Battleathon week 2. Quick disclaimer, if you have no idea what Battleathon is, it is a competitive-based readathon that I am hosting through the entire month of August. It is definitely not too late to join, and all of the houses are fighting to become the King's Assassins. Your points come from your star rating, so really it's just about focusing on books that you think you're going to love. So that is what I have been doing for all of my weekly reading vlogs. Last week, I tried to see if I could accurately predict a 5-star, and it went so-so. This week, I'm going to be reading some books that have some of my favorite tropes, trying to find those elusive 5 stars. I have a lot of books that I can choose from for this week. Like, we have got a stack here, plus a couple of ebooks as well. So I cannot decide what I want to pick up. A lot of these don't have audiobooks, so Reign of Shadow and Endings will definitely be my priority audiobook. And then I think I'll be going with, I had to hunt it down, A Throne of Shadows for my other audiobook. This one is my Patreon book club read for the month of August, and it says a feisty outlaw, a conniving prince, and a war of magic and shadows. So tropes for me are definitely going to be shadows and a feisty outlaw. Feisty female main character is one of my favorite tropes in fantasy romance, so that is going to be the tropes for this one. But I need to decide what physical book I'm going to be starting with. Today is Sunday. I am getting a little bit of a later start than I'm into because I just have been... It's been slow going for me, getting it moving after I got home from our work trip. But I'm ready to settle down, I'm ready to get some reading in, and I just need to decide what I'm going to pick up. Since I have so many choices and I'm really not sure what I want to prioritize and there's no way I can get to all of these books this week, I think I'm going to try the first chapter of all of them and just see which one grips me the most. Then I'll have an idea of what I want to pick up the rest of the week as well. So I'm going to go try a chapter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books, and I'll come back to you and let you know what my thoughts on each of the chapters are, as well as which one I'm going to be starting the week with. Okay, I decided to narrow my list a little bit because I had 8 or 9 books and I realized that's a little too out of hand to read first chapters. The first one that I ended up going with, though, was A Crown of Light and Shadows by G.K. DeRosa. This, I think, is a new adult fantasy romance, but it involves a Fae Academy, which is what I was going to be using as one of the tropes that I love. I adore a good school setting. This one is following a powerless outcast thrust into a brutal Fae Academy. Her ruthless instructor caught between duty and desire, a forbidden love foretold to speak the kingdom's absolute ruin. It sounds really interesting. I love the cover. It's got some gorgeous artwork in the front. And I was a little unsure about how I felt about the writing in the very beginning. It felt kind of juvenile. Our main character felt a little young, but the very end of the chapter had me very intrigued and wanting to move into chapter 2. So definitely a contender. And then I also read A Liar's Twisted Tongue. This one I have been seeing pop all over TikTok. There's a line about banter that's in there that everybody keeps using, and I really wanted to know what that was all about. The banter line really hooked me, so I decided to pick it up. This chapter was a lot longer. It's following Desdemona and Damien, and it's a world where there are fire fae and water fae, I think, and the fire fae are sent to work in the forges when they're really young and they die from this, and there were keepers and people coming to investigate things. I don't know, the first chapter didn't really give me a lot of information. There was a lot of little snippets, but nothing that really connected or made sense, but I am curious to see how it continues. The writing I liked but didn't love, but the ending of the first chapter and just kind of the little snippets did make me want to know what was going on. I'm not sure how I felt of how they all come to fruition, but I did kind of want to see what was going to happen next. I just got finished reading the first chapter, or I guess it's the prologue of Mischief and Mages by L.J. Andrews. This is part of the Forgotten Kingdoms series, which is very similar to the Married to Mortal Enemies, or whatever it's called, the Slaying the Shadow Prince, Slaying the Shifter Prince collection, where they're all written by different authors, but they all follow the same theme. This is one of those. There are 8 books. It's the same author that wrote The Ever King, and I don't think this is set in the same world as The Ever King. I think it is a completely new standalone world, and all of these books are following soulmates or fated mates, but they call them soulmates, which is not usually a trope that I gravitate toward. It used to be one that really, really bothered me, but but now it bothers me less. It's just something that is in books. And for this one, I think that the trope that called to me when I was looking it up was that it was a slow burn, love a slow burn romance, as well as a morally gray main character. Also really like that. The prologue for this was really interesting and not what I expected. We have two people that are apparently madly in love, but something is happening and she, in order to save the man that she loves, is going to have to sacrifice herself and lose him in the process. And so it ends with her doing something drastic that loses the relationship between the two of them. I'm assuming this is going to have an amnesia type trope in it, which again, I'm a little bit leery of, but that prologue was really interesting and it had me definitely wanting to know more. So this is a contender for sure. Another first chapter down, this one was Wings of Starless Night by Sadie Sterling. This is one that I saw recommended. Actually, this is one that Cassidy or Claire saw recommended on Instagram, and it sounded really good. So I was like, okay, let's pick it up. Let's give it a try. The tropes that the author mentions for this one are fae royalty, romantasy, excruciating slow burn with lots of tension. That is definitely a buzz trope for me. Touch him and you die, which is not a buzz trope for me, but one I think I could really love, so we're going to check it out. Winged Fae, knife to the throat, love. Morally gray male main character, love. Forced proximity, on the run, love. Enemies to lovers, also a trope, a favorite of mine. So this one hits a lot of buzzwords. I liked the first chapter. I thought that it was interesting. Our female main character is flying home when she gets attacked by this winged creature that is supposed to be a part of another kingdom and not allowed over into their kingdom. Nobody's seen this creature for hundreds of years until she does. She gets into a battle with it. She ends up killing it, and she says that she doesn't want her uncle to know about it, but he's always going to know because the trees do whisper. So a lot of very interesting things. I'm very intrigued by this one, and I liked the writing. So this is a definite contender. I think I'm going to try one more first chapter. I think I'm going to do When Gods Fall. We're going to see how that goes, and then I have enough options. Okay, the last first chapter I think I'm going to have read is When Gods Fall. This one I was really interested in because it had gods and a sibling trope, and I really do like both of those. This one starts off by explaining a world where there are free folk that live in these camps, and basically you're not allowed to have magic. If you have magic, you're considered marked by the gods, but that is like heresy in this world, and nobody accepts the marked anymore. One of the siblings goes off to try to get a marked healer to come back and save him. She has some kind of artifact that the healer's like, wait, where did you get that? Do you know about the gods? And she's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. My dad just gave this to me. And that's kind of where the first chapter ends up. I don't think that this one is going to be a contender for right now. I definitely still do plan to read it, but the first chapter did not hook me quite as much as some of the others. So now I'm trying to decide, out of these two as well as the two ebooks, which one do I want to start with first? I think I'm going to toss out A Crown of Light and Shadows for now, just because the writing style wasn't my absolute favorite, although I was really curious about how that chapter ended. So maybe, I don't know, all four of these were like solid. I do want to continue in them. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to think about it a little bit more. I want to pick a 5-star read because you guys are counting on me to help get you some points. So I definitely want to pick what I think I'm the most interested in. And honestly, I am very, very tired tonight. So whatever I pick, I'm not going to read any more of tonight anyway. So I think I'm going to sleep on it, and I will decide out of the four which one I want to pick up first thing in the morning. So today has been a very slow moving day for me. I was off of work and just kind of relaxing and not really doing a whole lot today. I told you guys yesterday that I was going to be deciding what book I would be reading based off of the first chapters that I read. But as I was going to bed, I remembered that there was one other book that I was considering reading that I wanted to try, and that is Blood and Ether. So I sat down, I read the prologue. It was about 10 or 15 pages, and I was instantly hooked, and that one, hands down, what I was picking up. The prologue starts off with a king and his son, and they are going to the seers because there was a prophecy many years ago that one of the heirs to this kingdom was going to be the harbinger, and they were basically going to stop the plague and save the kingdom, but probably at the expense of great war in the other kingdom. And so every time that an heir is born, they are taken to the seers to be tested to see if they are that harbinger. And that was a very brutal prologue. I will say if harm, mutilation, especially of a child, is something that you cannot stomach, this is probably not going to be the book for you just based off of the prologue. But I was instantly hooked. I've gotten about 10% into it so far, and I'm really enjoying it. This is a school setting, which I did not mean to pick up so many school settings books, but I'm not complaining about it. It is a non-fae story where we have gods and where they can control light and shadows and water and air, the elements, and I am very intrigued by where the story is going so far. We have met both the female and the male main character. I'm definitely more intrigued about her side of things at the moment, but I'm curious to see what happens when they finally meet up, and I'm excited to continue reading this one. So far, it's going really well, which is good because I have a special edition coming from Fabled. But either way, like, just look at that cover because the cover of this book is gorgeous. Okay. It has been a couple of days, and if I sound stuffy, it's because I am. I told you guys in the last vlog that I went to that work retreat, and on the work retreat, I got COVID. So I have been a little bit stuffy. I feel fine. Like, I'm okay. I'm just very snotty, and adults are not made for fevers, but like, I'm fine. It's really not. It just feels like a nasty cold. We're good. But because of this, I really have not been reading very much. I did accidentally go to work yesterday because I didn't know that I had COVID. So I did go to work and I listened to some of Reign of Shadow and Endings on my way to and from work. So I can catch you up a little bit on that. But I've not read any more of Blood and Ether because I just have had too bad of a headache to really read with my eyeballs. But Reign of Shadow and Endings, I have very mixed feelings on at the moment. I am still mostly liking it, but I keep having like whiplash feelings, and I think that that is Theon's fault. I think in a romantasy, I really have to be able to vibe with the couple and really like the male main character and their kind of dynamic in order to fully love the story. And while the darkness of it and kind of the forced dynamic is not really what's bothering me, his demeanor and attitude is. I think I could like this a lot more if one of two things was happening. Either he was just bad from the get-go and he was terrible, and then we slowly saw him start to come to the realization that he's an asshole. And sometimes that can work for me. Sometimes men just being assholes in books, it works. Or if he was always struggling with this and didn't really want to do it but knew he had to do it, didn't really want to have this bond or force her into this but knew that he had to, and unfortunately he just yo-yos in between those two things constantly. So it feels like I cannot fully understand his character motivations. It feels like I don't really, like, I can't settle into their relationship dynamics because they're constantly changing. And I'm over halfway through the book now, so I feel like we should be starting to level that out a little bit. I feel like we are slowly getting into the whole, he understands that this is just not going to work, and he's trying to figure out how to make her okay with it while also not forcing her into anything, and I appreciate that. But I'm just, their dynamic is very weird, and I think it's because of him. And the fact that he can't just like settle into a personality, and it's driving me insane. It's just constant whiplash. And I just don't know, like, I'm halfway through the book and I still feel this way, so I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be able to get past it, but I am enjoying some of the conversations. Enjoying is probably not the best word, but I do like some of the conversations that we are having. I like the magic system and what we're learning about Tessa and the kind of way that the Fae magic works, the conversations about what Fae are to the legacies. I love all of that. He just is not, he's not working for me. So I'm going to continue. I don't know how much more of it I'll get read in the next little bit. I'm trying. I need to get it done. If anything, I just want to get 2 books finished for you guys in this vlog. My goal this week was like my most anticipated week. Some of the books that I was dying to get to and I just can't read when I'm sick. I wish I was one of those people that was like, yes, full vacation of reading time. But that's not me. I usually end up with a headache, or because I'm so stuffy, I just cannot concentrate, and so I binge TV and don't read. We'll see how much reading I get done. My goal is 2 books because I still do want to like have something out for you guys and get some points for this week, and I feel really bad that I'm not gonna probably read as much as I had originally anticipated, but
it is what it is. We'll spin the wheel at some point. You'll still get team rankings for week 2. I'm hoping I can kick this really quickly and then I can go back to normal reading for next week. But I think that I have some packages out in the mailbox, so I'm gonna see if I can muster up the energy to go get those because I believe it is my new Book Babe t-shirts and I really want to show you guys those. It is the perfect reading weather outside. It is pouring. I don't think it's going to last very long. I think it's one of those summer storms, but so nice to just sit and read and listen to. I did finish Reign of Shadow and Endings, and I think this is going to come out to be a 3-star. It was... so many mixed feelings. I don't want to say it was fine because there were moments that I really, really enjoyed and moments that I was like, what the heck am I reading? What is going on? The ending I did like. The ending I thought really kind of brought everything home. A lot more was happening. We found out more about the world and the magic and how things were interconnected, and I really did like the ending. The last probably hour of the audiobook, so 50 to 100 pages of the book, were really, really good, and I think that's what continued to keep it more in like the 3-star range for me. Theon just was not it for me. He yo-yoed way too much. I think if he had had a consistent personality throughout the whole book, I could have been more on board. Whether that be terrible or self-deploring, it doesn't really matter. I just needed him to have a consistent personality. I needed him to either really hate what he was doing and feel remorse over it but still have to do it, or I needed him to be like cutthroat and not give a crap and just be evil. One of the two things, because the whole back and forth through the whole book, I know that it was trying to show how much of an inner struggle he was having with her, with his kingdom, with his father. I get that. I just don't think it was done very well. I don't think that it came across well enough in the rest of context of the story in order for that to feel like a personality for him. It just felt fake and convenient. It felt like his personality was whatever it needed to be in the moment, and I did not love that. But I am going to continue the series because book 2s sometimes can blow me away. Book 2s can sometimes be so much better, especially if the plot continues to escalate the way it did in the last little bit of Reign of Shadow and Endings. So I'm definitely going to continue it. I just am kind of sad because this was like, I thought going to be a slam dunk 5-star for me because of Lady of Darkness, and it just sadly was not. But we do need to spin and see who is going to be getting the 300 points. I think I could probably give bonus points for Team Thorns because of rain. It's not really like, when I thought of a nature word, I was thinking more plant-based, but it has definitely evolved in the Discord since then, so I would count rain. And then shadows, maybe I could consider for Team Snakes as a bonus word, so let's go ahead and spin. Let's see who's getting 300/310 points. Oh, we just barely went spin again, so I'm actually going to scoot this forward because I think it's a little unlevel. There we go. Okay, let's spin again. Oh my gosh. Up. So Team Snakes is going to be getting 310 points. I'll give them the bonus points for shadows, even though I don't know if it's really a wicked word, but we're going to give it to them. And I do need to try my best to finish Blood and Ether. I don't know. We're going to try. I've still got 60% of it, and I just started The Last of Us. I have never seen it before, and I got to episode 3 and my heart was ripped out, and now I'm not sure whether I want to continue watching it or whether I just want to crawl in a hole and eat a bucket of ice cream. If you know, you know. But I think, going to try to bribe myself with reading 10% of Blood and Ether and then watching an episode of TV, and then 10% of Blood and Ether and watching an episode of TV, and see if maybe that will convince me to get some progress in this book and read with my eyeballs, because even though I still sound sick, I feel so much better, and I'm going to try to join the Land of the Living again tomorrow. So if I'm going to do that, and I say that I feel well enough to do that, then I need to say that I'm well enough to read. So I'm going to attempt that. We're going to see how it goes, and I will, I guess, check in if I manage to get some reading done. You'll be the first to know. Hello from the Land of the Living. I am alive and I am feeling so much better today. I am so glad that I feel much more human, much more alive and refreshed. I'm still a little bit stuffy, but for the most part, like, we're feeling much, much better today, which means I really need to get on some reading. I have not read any more of Blood and Ether, really, not enough to give you any additional updates. However, what I do have are packages. So I have a couple of things. My Book Babe t-shirts Sweatshirts are in, as well as a bookmark, I think, from Cassidy, and my bookish box from whatever month just happened to show up. So really quickly, let's open the bookmark from Cassidy. This is her Patreon bookmark for no, not August. This one would be for July. How cute is this? I think this is for July. But it would make sense because it's the middle of August and she ships them out at the end of August. So this should be the July bookmark. But look at how cute he is. I just love that. That's adorable. And it's got a sprayed edge. Absolutely adorable. I love that. As far as the book babe stuff goes, let me back up so that I can show you these. I got 3 t-shirts. The first one is this one that says, "This is the most wonderful time of the year," and it's got like a car with some skeletons, and then it's got the rear view mirror in the back. So cute. I love this one. This color does not look very good on me, so I really should stop buying things that are that color, but I just could not resist the pattern on it. And then we have the Reader Retreat. And at some point, I'll give you guys a try-on haul of these, but I did not feel like changing clothes. And then one of my favorite ones that I got was the Ghosties with the kitty cat, and it is so cute. So I love these. She did a great job. They're all comfort colors, which is my personal favorite. I like the thicker shirt. And then last but not least, we have my bookish box. I have no idea what month this is. They're about 5 months behind now, I think. So this theoretically should be April, but I want to say I might have skipped April. And I don't know if this is darkly or bookish, so we're just about to all be surprised together. It's packaged very differently than normal. Normally it comes in a book sleeve, but this one just came in the bubble mailer. But this is the Devil in the Blue Sea by Stacey Marie Brown. It is both of them together, I believe. It's a omnibus, which I was not expecting, and I'm not sure if I like this or not. I was really on the fence about if I was even going to get this edition because I did not like Savage Lands. It was not a favorite of mine. They were too horny, too much, too all the time. And I wasn't sure that I really liked her writing style, but honestly, I had run out of skips for these, and I was trying at the time of getting this one to get a few more in to see if I liked them or not. I'm not a huge slipcover fan, so like this is fine. It really bothers me that these are not the same color. Like, why are they not the same color cream? I don't know. But I do like this like naked hardcover map kind of thing we got going on here. The map extends all the way to the back. These are the edges. I like the edges. They're like waves, and they match the front pretty well. And then we have, some not so safe for work, I don't think, art in the front, but I'll show you the back. And then the slipcover just kind of has the front. I like it. I'm curious to see if I end up liking this series. I've been liking pirate stuff more recently, so we shall see. Overall, it's sturdy, it's good. At least the binding is correct this time, so that's nice. Anyway, I like it. Pretty good edition. I think that is all I have for the haul though, so that means that it's time for me to buckle down and try to finish this last book because it is Saturday and the week ends tonight at 11 p.m. my time, so I really need to get on some reading. We are on the speed read to finish, there we go, Blood and Ether by midnight tonight, or I guess 11 p.m. my time tonight. I am currently about 50% of the way through it, so we have 3 hours of reading to go and not a lot of time to do it in, but we got this, I have very mixed feelings on it right now. I'm really loving the magic system. I think that the kind of resonance at Ether and how humans have resonance, but it's slowly dying out, and what the differences are between the ether and the resonance is a really, really cool idea. I'm liking the fact that there's a little bit of a school setting to this, and I really love the prologue and how that was going to play in. But unfortunately, that really has not played into the story much as of right now. The only like thread of plot that I've really gotten at the moment is we know Arkin is there for some kind of purpose, and she's been told to hide most of her power. And then we also know that there are children, especially young men, that are going missing. But that's really all all that we've gotten at 50%. So I'm hoping that the plot picks up a little bit more, because right now I'm not completely loving the relationship side of things. And because I'm not completely enamored by the relationship side of things, I really need there to be a little bit more plot to go with this really cool like magic and world that we have going on. The relationship just seems very surface level. Really all that they have going for one another is that they think that the other one is hot, and they're going to tell you a million times so that you don't forget how hot they are. And I'm just getting a little bored by that. They have some moments where there's some really good banter, but I'm tired of hearing how hot the other one is. And like they'll even talk about themselves as hot sometimes. And you know what? Self-esteem, I'm all for knowing when you are attractive. However, I am a little tired of hearing it. And we get these snippets where like the friendship groups are really good and they're like, well, he's a bully to you sometimes. And I'm like, wait, but I don't see that. I don't see a lot of what they're talking about, which makes it feel very surface level to me. But I am hoping that things will start to pick up a little bit. Usually the 50% mark is where things take a turn. So I will let you know, and hopefully things start to shape up a little bit. Well, I have gotten about 70-ish% into Blood and Ether, and I'm enjoying this a lot more now. They've always had some pretty good banter on and off, but I felt like it just wasn't enough for me. There was something missing, and I was not really sure what it was, but I am really starting to enjoy it now. We're getting a little bit more moments between the two of them, and the banter, I don't know, it's just hitting different. Maybe I was just sick, and that's why I wasn't liking it, is because I was having a hard time focusing on anything, but I'm enjoying their dynamic a lot more. I still think it could use some depth. I still think that it's a touch too long, but I'm having a good time now. Good morning. It is the finale of Battleathon week 2. And really quickly, before we go into the standings, where everybody is at going into week 3, I did want to tell you that I finished Blood and Ether last night. By some kind of miracle skin of my teeth, we did get it done. I have some very mixed feelings on this book because there are a lot of things that I really enjoyed and some things that just really didn't work for me as well. Unfortunately, while there were parts of the relationship that I really liked, some of their banter and some of their dynamics between one another, most of the time I felt like it was a little bit rushed and a little bit kind of underdeveloped. I think I've told you guys that it felt very surface level at times, and I pretty much felt that way throughout most of the story. Toward the ending, I felt like it got a little bit better, but part of that I think was because we did not really understand our main characters very well. I never really got a lot of backstory on Arkin and why she was the way that she was. We were kind of told snippets, but we never really saw anything into her past. And while we knew who Kieran was from the prologue and we knew bits about his past, we really didn't get a whole lot from him either, especially until the very end of the book. So because we didn't know them very well separately, when you put them together, they didn't seem to know each other very well at all either, and I think that that was the main thing that really held me back. But I liked the little bit of plot that we got. I think that this book was astronomically too long. I do not think that it needed to be 600 pages because a lot of that was just them talking about how hot the other one was, and then toward the ending there was a lot of sex scenes. Good sex scenes, but a lot of sex scenes. This is a friends to lovers, but not in a sweet syrupy kind of way. So I hesitate to say that it's friends to lovers because I feel like a lot of people that like that tend to like a more sweet relationship. This one is not. There is some very mild like BDSM kind of thing in the ending of this, and she does say in the acknowledgements that we will get another protagonist added next time, so I'm not sure if it's going to be a wide choose or not, but it is a possibility. I did vibe with most of that though. I thought that that was all done really well. I think in the ending I'm gonna have to give this one a 3.5 star because there were just parts of the plot that I loved but didn't get enough of them. Parts of the characters in the relationship that I loved but I just didn't get enough of it. And I think for the purposes of this readathon I'm gonna round it up to a 4 star, but in my brain it's a 3.5. So we do need to do our final spin and see who is going to be getting the points. So we're going to do a bootleg spin real quick. I do not think that any team is going to get bonus points except for Team Snakes. They would get it for blood, but nobody else I don't think will get any bonus points. So quickly spinning and seeing who these 400 points are going to. Wings is going to get 400 more points. They are not getting any bonus points because there are no royal words in the title of this one. Okay, so that is the final of all of the books that I read. Again, I apologize that this was not a more exciting vlog. I wanted it to be, but COVID said no ma'am. So next week we are going to hopefully rev up the reading, hopefully get a few more things done. I am going to be doing sequels next week, so I'm very excited because I know what I rated the first book, and so I'm hoping that the second book will even be better, and I'm very excited for the week ahead. Now, what you guys have all been waiting very patiently for is the standings for week 2. If you're not participating in Battleathon and you're like, I don't really care about this, and you're about to peace out, please leave me some kind of cozy emoji down in the comments below, because that's kind of how I felt just cozying up while being sick this week. But if you guys are here for Battleathon, let me tell you really quickly how this is kind of going to work moving forward. When we end week 2, this is just your standings going into week 3. So you are only going to be going head to head with the team that you are matched up against. You don't have to worry about the other 2 teams. This is going to decide in week 3 who's moving on to the winners bracket and who's moving into the runners up bracket. So the winner of one bracket moves into one spot, the winner of the other bracket moves up, and they are going to compete for first and second, and then the losers will move into the runners up bracket. That does not mean that you need to stop reading in week 4, because nobody wants to be the loser. So make sure that you are still reading so that you are at least getting 3rd place. But this is a very, very important week because it does decide who is going to have the potential to get 1st or 2nd place. Your points are resetting. So everyone is starting at 0. It doesn't matter if you're in 3rd or 4th place right now. If you are, you can still win it all because points have reset. So definitely don't count anybody out. Don't think because you're going up against the easier team that you have an easy path. So without further ado, in 4th place, we have the House of Thorns, and they are going to be going head to head against 1st place, which became the House of Stars. The House of Stars booted out the House of Snakes for 1st place this week. And then for 3rd place, we have the House of Wings, and they will be going head to head against the House of Snakes. So good luck, everyone, going into week 3. I wish you the best of luck. Please remember though, if you are participating in the Discord, to not post anything about the standings for the next hour or so. Give everyone time to watch the vlog if they're interested, and then spoiler tag any standings until the standings come out on Discord later tonight or tomorrow. If you are participating in Battleathon, you can either leave me a cozy emoji or your team emoji and what your favorite read of the week was down in the comments below. If you missed last week's vlog and want to check it out, I'm going to leave it right here for you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!